Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Grid Talk podcast here on the Motorsport Magpie channel. We're back to your regular scheduled programming after our Le Mans special, so thank you very much. With me here, as always, is the creator of the podcast and the owner of the channel, Mr. David, Mr. Motorsport Magpie yourself. How are we doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I just thought I'll give you half a chance at actually doing the intro and see now how difficult it is for me. But yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
you killed it better than I did. Yeah, hello everybody, and welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix preview. Yeah, we've had a lot of previews to do lately, and hopefully reviews will be all out very shortly. So if you are watching this, Monaco and Spain will be out this week. They are recorded. We do them after every race. It's just time limited because of the Le Mans videos that came out. And thank you everybody who did go and watch them, because they have come out brilliantly, and it means we might go and do a review. I've got to have a word with Mr. Maffer and see when he's spare, because he was actually at the event like everybody else, it seemed like. I felt like the only person in the world not actually there or travelling somewhere. As you can see, Wajid there in a very different setting to what he normally is. And as he states, better Wi-Fi, ironically. The Canadian Grand Prix.
Don't say that. That's curse of the commentator. That's curse of the commentator. That's going to that's going to come back and bite.
I said it on a live stream, in the comments when Le Mans was on. I went, "Oh, look at that! The privateer, Cadillac. No, what was it? Privateer Porsche, or something, was going really well. The Jota car, basically." And I went, "Look, it's going really well. It's leading race. How is it? How is the independent beating all these works teams?" That moment was when Yiffy yeeted himself into the Porsche curves and destroyed the rear end of the car. I was like, "Oh God, I'm not even a full-time commentator, and I've got the curse on me." So yeah, back to our regular schedule, the Canadian Grand Prix, and I don't know about you, Wajid, but it never seems to disappoint too much, this Grand Prix.
Oh, definitely. I think by far and away, if you sort of take the quote unquote historical Grand Prix like your Spa, your Monaco, Silverstone, this is one of those Grand Prix that I don't think there is a single F1 that ever wants to see them, that ever wants to see the Grand Prix off the calendar. You know, you got iconic turns, you got an iconic wall, you have iconic races, and funnily enough, it's a Grand Prix where people seem to break their ducks consistently as well.
Yeah, that's very true. Going through history, just off the top. Well, I was going to say off the top of my head. I've literally got results in front of me, so it's much easier to just scroll down. We obviously had Lewis Hamilton back in 2007, Kubica in 2008, Daniel Ricciardo in 2014. We had Jean Alesi 1995. So yeah, there was, and it's all, while we've had dominant drivers here. I mean, we now look at the repeat winners of the Grand Prix, Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, both on 7. The next repeat winner is Piquet on 3. So that just shows you the domination from like mid-90s to now. 14 of these Grand Prix. Obviously, we didn't host it in 2009 when it was dropped, or 2020 or 2021 due to COVID pandemic. So Schumacher and Hamilton come up quite a bit. Ralf Schumacher diving in there with a win in between his brother's wins in 2001. So pops in even more. But yeah, it's one of them where something always happens. And ever since I started watching racing in 1997, Panis broke his leg. 98, which was the end of probably Prost's Championship Challenge, I think, really, because they were up there. And it could have been a whole different story for him if they had finished that season properly. 1998, we had the I think it was 3 restarts with Wirtz flying upside down, Panis and Truly and Lacey getting into spare cars and then landing on top of one another on the second start. Just trying to think of other. We had the Wall of Champions year, which I think was '99, when Schumacher, Hill,
99.
Villeneuve, for the second time, Villeneuve hitting that wall. Then we had 2008, where 2007, where Kubica crashed and come back in 2008 and won with the pit lane accident. We also had for Raikkonen and Hamilton. I still think Hamilton looked at the two cars in front and went, I need to avoid these. Hang on, it's a Ferrari or BMW. I'm avoiding nobody. Which one do I need to take out? I'm sure that was running through the mind. McLaren would go, take the Ferrari, take the Ferrari. We had 2014 where the two Mercedes, the hybrid system suddenly stopped working and Daniel Ricciardo was able to come through to win.
On a race they both scampered off into the distance and utterly dominated.
Yeah, I seem to remember, I think it was about lap 30, everything just sort of started going completely wrong and we're like, hang on a minute. But then, without hybrid system, Rosberg was still able to finish second, which was just one of them. That shows how dominant they were then. And, of course, we had the 2019 event with Sebastian Vettel deciding he wasn't going to go to Parc Fermé. I'm going to dump my car at the end of the pit lane and go have a hissy fit in Ferrari garage and then come back and change for Sainz because of his penalty. So, yeah.
It wasn't a penalty.
I still think it was. Because you have to rejoin the track safely, and while there's a little lump that doesn't allow you to, he should have slowed down a bit more. But maybe we could say he shouldn't have made that mistake.
Maybe. I think out of all the historical races you mentioned, I think you failed to mention arguably probably the greatest race of the decade, which is the Jenson Button 2011 win.
Yes. Yeah, there is that. The wet Grand Prix.
Just total and utter carnage from moment one of that race.
I think it was 2000. It was the anniversary of that. Not yesterday, the day before. No, it might have been yesterday actually. I think it was yesterday, the anniversary of that race. 6 hours of commentary. We talked about birds. We talked about, and I'm not on about the seagulls on turn one, Sebastian Vettel, if you are watching. We were talking about rain. We had Jensen doing 6 stops, I think it was 5 or 6 stops in the end. He had a penalty as well to abide by. Stuck the slicks on. And then went cruising past everybody and pressured Fernando Alonso Sebastian Vettel into a mistake at the end of the race. And ironically won by 2.7 seconds. So he looked like he was cruising in the end.
Yeah, I think, but this is where this was the race afterwards where they implemented the 2-hour race clock and the 4-hour maximum race time, because they were like 6 hours is just ridiculous. The McLaren decide to yeet each other on the start finish straight. It was just a totally and utterly mental Grand Prix. And the reason I say the race of the decade is because that's what it was voted by the fans, which was the greatest race of 2011 to 2020.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, that, because obviously it's quite subjective. And apologies to everybody, my microphone does keep falling down. I need to sort that out. It's because I moved it. I don't move it for ages a minute. So if it slides down again, don't worry. This circuit also hosted the first ever safety car finish. Sorry to bring that out for Abu Dhabi fans, but first ever safety car finish in 1999. When Mika Hakkinen won the race. It was stopped on the safety car, I believe, if I remember rightly, because Heinz Alfredson in the Jordan had brake failure. Yet another time, he could have had a really strong result and put himself right in the championship hunt a little bit more than he was before. Only other ones of note, Jean Lacey's first win. Obviously, that's, well, I say first, only win in Formula One. One driver who's definitely did not fulfill his potential whatsoever. There's a video we need to do. So yeah, it's one of them where anything can happen. And last year, Max Verstappen did dominate the weekend, but he had Carlos Sainz all over the back of him and only finished 9 tenths behind in the end. Lewis Hamilton third for Mercedes. Now, remember, that was a zero side pod Mercedes as well. So, are we again looking at... Do we not look at Mercedes' progress this weekend again? Because they were quick round Spain last year, they're quick round Spain this year, they're quick round Canada last year. Will it be quick round Canada this year? I mean, it's Lewis anyway, he's always quick.
They weren't quicker around Canada last year. It's just, one, it's a track Lewis is historically very, very good at. Obviously, that's where he got his first race win. But two, that car was like clearly the third best car at the grid in Canada. He just drove the wheels off the thing. Carlos was probably I think if you'd given Carlos maybe 1 or 2 more laps, he probably would have overtaken Max. I mean, I'm skipping a bit forward to this year. I don't see anyone beating Max. Spoiler. But I think this is the first real test of the Mercedes, Mercedes side pod W14 Spec B, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If they are clearly the second quickest car, then we're here for a serious. Then there's a serious conversation to be had about if they can catch the Red Bulls or not. If they are struggling with the Astons and Ferraris and you can't separate them, then I don't think the progress of that car has been as dramatic as people are making out.
Yeah,
they have to be for me. Sorry, they have to clearly be the second quickest car on the grid in Canada, where I will then hold my hands up and say, do you know what? Fair enough. There's been legitimate progress. I think, as I mentioned on the sort of last show, from the next 4 races, which I believe is Canada, Spain included, which I believe was now Canada, Austria,
Britain, Hungary.
That car needs to be take out Checo side. That car needs to be on the podium 3 of those 4 races and be like comfortably sort of like 5 to 10 seconds clear of the Ferrari and the Aston for me to go, this is a legitimate good upgrade.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in terms of Mercedes, because obviously this circuit, again, we kind of look at it a bit like a Monaco. It can just randomly, like Ferrari have always looked really good here, for whatever reason. I can't even think of a year where Ferrari haven't been in contention. And obviously last year's car, which wasn't a good race car, Sainz was really challenging for a win. This started Sainz's little roll off of building up to a British Grand Prix victory. I wonder is this going to be, finally we might see a better, because like last time out wasn't bad by Sainz in Spain. We sort of came to the conclusion that it was a bit more of a car, because obviously Leclerc had that terrible weekend, and then they rub it in his face by taking him to Le Mans to see them win. How ironic. Why Ferrari didn't stick Leclerc and Sainz in that car, I never know. But anyway, could we see Ferrari being that bit closer, and that's why Mercedes might not be second quickest here?
They might be, but I maintain by what I stand, which is if this upgrade is as good, because Ferrari's like new spec upgrade hasn't been talked about, hasn't been hyped the way the Mercedes upgrade was. The Mercedes hype to this upgrade is the same hype as Qatar potentially buying Man United. That's the level of hype, and oh, it's amazing, it's a game changer, blah 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 blah. If Ferrari are close to Mercedes, like any way, shape, or form, unless of dramatic change or anything like that, then what was the point of the upgrade? What was the point of all the hype? What was the point of all this bluster? Oh well, we're gonna struggle for the first three races, but after Imola, you wait and see and all that. So Toto had his chest puffed out in Spain, saying, "Oh yeah, look at the job we did," and
Yeah.
it wasn't actually 25 seconds we were behind Mark. If you take away the 10 seconds we lost behind Lance Stroll and Carlos Sainz, were probably only 15 seconds, etc., etc. So I don't care how close Ferrari. I don't care how close Ferrari are. The if they're anywhere near the Mercs, as in challenging for that final podium spot, then the upgrade is not good.
We've obviously got to look at Aston Martin as well. Aston Martin, a team that have been running second quickest pretty much all season, kind of just disappeared in Spain, almost beaten by the Alpines as well. They're apparently bringing a new floor. Not really the Grand Prix to bring a new floor for, is it really? I mean, with the high curbs and things like that, these guys are going to be told not to even push in FP1, are they? Because they might not have a spare floor for
them. And I don't know if they're bringing two. I think they're only bringing one to test on
Oh right, okay, car. Yeah.
So yeah, Fernando's going to be told, yeah, please don't ride the curbs, please don't touch the curbs, avoid the white lines if you can as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Don't get anywhere near the wall. So we'll see. I think Spain for Aston was a real wake-up call, which is like, okay, we're at the front end, we're at the sharp end. We could have won in Monaco, and now the sort of big boys are flexing their muscles. I think now Aston are realizing that to stay there, their upgrade and development rate has to be so much quicker than it has been when they've been lounging around in the back with Williams just chilling, not a care in the world and just happy to be there. So we'll see, because even from the sounds of it, Lawrence Stroll is not happy. They've not won a race yet this season, so it'll be really interesting to see what they bring to Canada, how they are in Canada. I'm going to put it to you, if they're sort of like fourth quickest car again, is there going to be sort of some eyebrows raised at the Aston and the Aston team as to what they're sort of doing from here?
Oh yeah, there will be. Sorry, that's my phone. If you can hear it dinging away in the background. I will just. Nothing interesting. Let's just stop that dinging away. Yeah. So basically, Aston have to develop like the last time I saw them develop so quickly was probably 1998 when they did Jordan, when they had nothing for the first 9 races of the season and then went on to win a Grand Prix. How they turned that car around, that's kind of a development they're going to have to do. It's just madness that they've just possibly fell off the field, and there's going to be big questions asked by Lance Stroll if that suddenly happens, and possibly, you have to be careful in Formula One who you get into bed with, and that's a saying before anybody starts any rumours. They got into bed with Honda. Now Honda could very much be going, well, we've seen how quickly this team's moved forward, but then are you going to be a little bit upset if they can't develop during a season? Honda's so much used to McLaren, who can develop. We've seen it before. Red Bull, we've seen them develop a car. Aston Martin and Lance Stroll, we haven't seen it happen yet, apart from bringing a whole brand new car, which they did last year. So is this now where we see the budget constraints come in of Lance Stroll, because we suddenly go, oh, well, they can't do X, Y, or Z, but we shall see. We shall see. I think Fernando always goes well around here, so that'll be a positive. Lance, we've already said a few times, is, well, he's in Daddy's team. I still think he is now fighting for his career a little bit. Good performance in Spain, where he probably should have been considering where Alonso ended up. So he's got a stay of execution, but he's really going to have to sort of keep that going as we come to Canada. But his home track, I don't think he has a good record around here, generally. So, yeah. I would see him being fourth fastest.
Do you think that was a good performance when Fernando stood behind, when Fernando's in the car behind you waving to the fans?
I think the problem for Fernando there is, unless he's going to be winning a Grand Prix, he's not really fussed where he finishes. He looked at that as a team thing, and he knows what Lance is like. Like, Lance is, he's pulled silly moves before, and I wonder if Fernando got up behind Lance and went, this ain't worth the risk. It's 1 point, 2 points, whatever. The team will get exactly the same amount of points. If I get in front of Lance, you know, anything could happen. At least with him in front of me, I can see exactly what's going to happen and react. Plus, it's going to boost Lance's confidence a little bit. And hopefully that puts Lance in a position where... And if you're going to boost his confidence, boost it in a race where the car's not good. And Alonso's down there anyway. You wouldn't not see it, Fernando Alonso, do that if it's about second and third place. That's as simple as I could put it. But I get what you're saying. I just think, considering it was a bad car that weekend, I've not seen many performances from Lance Stroll where you can go, that is a bad car, you have done well in. So to be able to be where he was, ahead of the Alpines, didn't fall too far back of Fernando. Yeah, Fernando could have been off up the road, but I do think it wasn't a bad performance by Lance, and that's what he's got to continue doing now. He's got to build on it. He's got to go to Canada, do well, and then he's got to go to Austria, do well, and Britain, and then we can start going, well, yeah, you're safe for next year, whatever happens. We know, obviously, Daddy's money might keep him in anyway, but, you know, he's not a terrible Grand Prix driver. He isn't a terrible Grand Prix driver.
Do you imagine getting fired by your father?
I don't know, but maybe we could ask Devon Butler, as that's out today. If anybody's got a PlayStation or PC, F123 out today, and Breaking Point storyline already spoiled by all the content creators. Cheers to that. But anyway, we'll carry on. You know, the amount of people.
Salty.
No, it's just the amount of people who have suddenly jumped on a bandwagon of a game. Like last year, the game was absolutely terrible in terms of the way it worked. I know this is off track, people, but absolutely terrible in the way it worked. And yet more people want to play it this year. It's like,
do you know why? It's because one, it's now run by EA, so you have all the EA content creators and things like that. But two, because of Drive to Survive, and yes, I'm going to mention it again, you DTS fanboys, because of Drive to Survive, when the F1 game comes out, it's now oh my god, look at it, it's the new F1 game. People play it for like a week, 2 weeks, and then after that, they just wait for FIFA.
And thank you to everybody yesterday who was streaming iRacing, because it meant I didn't have to watch F1 coverage. Cheers. No, I mean, I'm not saying I won't buy it or whatever yet, but I feel like there's too much hype over it. But anyway, we will go back to Canada, because that's why we're here. And further down the grid, we obviously had a couple of better performances by Nick de Vries this week, the last couple of races. Can you see AlphaTauri now keeping him till the end of the season, considering we had the rumours of, Danny Rick going into the seat, Lawson, Iwasa? I think, do we see Nick de Vries holding on to that seat now? He's sort of settled down a bit.
Nope. Why would one race change that?
Well, I'd take Monaco into it. I think he did all right around Monaco as well.
I don't think he did. Not particularly.
No.
Here's the thing. You and I, excuse me. You and I are guilty of it as well. Because of that race in Monza, in the Williams, where he comprehensively beat Nicholas Latifi. By the way, this is just showing how. Yeah, this is just showing how bad, how bad Nicholas Latifi tailed off towards the whatever sort of trauma and stuff he went through. But that's by the by. He came in, former test driver, raced in Formula E. That Monza result, you and I, just like about 90% of all F1 fans thought he was going to come in, kick Tsunoda's ass, and we'd be having a conversation here at this moment in time about, there's not a future here for Tsunoda, or
De Vries in Red Bull.
Or De Vries in the Red Bull, or maybe they're going to replace Checo. De Vries has come in, had his ass handed to him by Tsunoda, just consistently. Even Spain, didn't Spain he qualified ahead of Yuki in Spain, didn't he? From what I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
And he still got his ass kicked. And Yuki didn't get points because of the penalty, which we've discussed about. If a good race is you finish behind Yuki Tsunoda because and got closer to Yuki because you got a penalty, that's not a good race.
No.
And that's a race like God knows how many laps he'd have done at.
True. Well, we'll see. Let's. This place is a confident circuit with Canada, so we'll see where his confidence is better.
What's your opinion on it? What's your opinion on it? I still give him till Hungary. I still give him till Hungary.
Honestly, I think he needs a little bit more time. We've always dictated that Red Bull Academy is too quick with their decisions, and I think possibly a bit more time. I just don't see, there's no point dragging Lawson across from Japan. I don't see the point. Give Lawson a proper chance next season if you're going to give him a chance. Nobody in F2 is saying pit me. Nobody, not even Iwasa. So Lawson's next in line in terms of the academy. Tsunoda, he is only there because of Honda. And if anybody sits there thinking he is going... I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't go into Formula 1 anyway, but the Honda backing helped him. If anybody thinks he's going to go to jump in Red Bull next season, they must be deluded, because he's driving really well, don't get me wrong, but he's not driving like a world champion. And we already know you give... And this may sound a bit wrong, but if you look at the history of Japanese drivers in Formula 1, when they have got a quick car, quite often it's ended up being binned. Sato at BAR, you had Nakajima, the first Nakajima, Sakari Nakajima. Yeah, when he was teammate to Senna. Senna was winning races. Nakajima wasn't. Ukyo Katayama in Material got a decent car there, just couldn't get it up onto the podium and things like that, when it was probably a car that could have done. Yeah, so
Probably
it's
should have
it.
done.
Sorry.
It probably should have done.
Yeah. So the problem with I don't know whether it's just I'm not saying a Japanese driver couldn't come in and do really well, but obviously a lot of pressure comes on them from Japan. You see them go to a Japanese Grand Prix, home comforts and everything because it's a completely different lifestyle. They do really well. Suzuki on the podium. Sato got his first points there. Kamui, Kobayashi, he got his podium at Japan. And probably Kamui is the first driver I could say who got a good car and did well in it. Generally, in terms of Japanese drivers. So I want to see it, but it's hard to see him going up again. I think Yuki would get absolutely destroyed by Max, and that would be the end of his career driving anything. So
yeah, but all he has to do is what Checo's doing, and I think he could do what Checo does.
I don't know if he could. I honestly don't know.
Really?
I think if he qualified, if he had sort of like a Checo type qualifying where he's 11th or 12th in a car that should be on the front row, I think you'd get very frustrated and would, say if it was the other way around and it was Max doing what Checo's doing, I think we'd see a very frustrated Max for 2021 Max. And then mistakes start coming in and then issues like that. So I just don't think, honestly, there's only one driver I think in the Red Bull, this may sound weird, in the Red Bull driver market who Red Bull already have their hands on, there's only one driver I think who could handle a championship challenge without making a single mistake, because Max does make mistake when he's under pressure, we know that, and he's sitting as their reserve driver and sitting in as a third driver. It's Daniel Rick. Perez, every time he gets close to Max, all of a sudden has 2-3 bad races. Max, when he's actually under pressure for a championship, we can't deny it. The last 2 seasons have been just him cruising. He hasn't been under pressure, but we have seen little cracks when Perez has got close to him. Yuki, I don't think he'd be able to handle pressure, and Nick is proving right now that a little bit of pressure and he has crumbled apart a little bit. I still think we can give him a few more races on that, but I just think we've got Red Bull really need that. Maybe it's a Red Bull thing. Maybe it's a pressure from Helmut Marko.
I don't buy that. If you're in elite sports, because there's levels to elite sport, and I'm gonna take it back to Max at Toro Rosso. Yes, he was making mistakes, but he was driving the wheels off the thing.
Yeah,
the pressure's got to him in championship situations, and we've not spoken highly about Max on this podcast, but say what you want about the Fable 2021 season, he nearly bottled it, etc., etc. Fact of the matter is, he won the world title. He went head. He did go head to head. He did go head to head with Lewis. Lewis came in as a rookie, arguably the most pressure a rookie has ever come in, given the car he got given.
Yeah.
No rookie has ever come in to a championship winning car, and he beat Fernando. He beat the level on points.
Yeah.
He beat a 2-time world champion, and when it came to China and that mistake he made, there was only one person that could wrap up the world title when it came to China. It wasn't Fernando, it wasn't Kimi.
No.
And everyone could say what they want about the last 2 races and whatever else. Lewis showed as a rookie he had the bottle. So this is what I mean. Like there's I don't buy that excuse of not having that mentality. Like there's levels at this elite level as well, which is why the likes of Fernando at 40 years old, Lewis at nearly 40 years old are still at the top of their game because their mental strength, their mental fortitude, even Seb before he retired, their mentality is just that of an elite level, and this is why Max is clear of the likes of Charles, the likes of, I'll throw him in their science. In my opinion, the likes of Lando in the Lando in Russia, the one time he was in a pressure situation, he choked. No one could tell me otherwise. He choked.
No, I agree with that. I do think with Lando it was slightly different because obviously they were in a position where they weren't a race-winning car. They weren't. It was just one of them freak weekends. The McLaren works, Lando was up there, etc. And if you're going for your first win, you're going to take whatever option is in front of you, and at that time, dries were the option. Half a lap later, they weren't. Lewis just took Lewis was taking wets because he wanted to make sure he scored a point. So a little bit of a different situation. But I wonder if it comes down to upbringing a little bit. We know Lewis, we know Fernando's parents. I don't think we've seen around, sort of hanging around, but Seb did. Seb's father come to Grand Prix quite a bit, especially near the end of his career. They always seem to come across to me as somebody who would go, right, you're going out to enjoy it, you enjoy your racing, and then we'll push further. So like we had Lewis's dad, Anthony. We had Anthony Hamilton standing at certain points when Nicky Richardson or world champions break in karting, so Lewis braked harder. It wasn't like you were sitting there going, you must win this, you must win this. It was like, you must brake here. Little challenges, shall we say. Whereas I get the feeling, and from what reports we've heard, obviously, Max Verstappen and Jos Verstappen were brought up, you must go and win this event. It was like, you must win this. Oh, you haven't won this. Okay, that's a fail. You've just finished second by half a second. It's a fail, kind of thing. So I suppose Max has just been brought up in that pressure environment that nothing else is good enough, basically. I guess that's the best way to put it.
But that's where it takes that elite. That's where at the elite level, it's always, if it's not sort of God-given ability, like a Lionel Messi, for example, it's consistent hard work of the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, the likes of Michael Jordan. What is the one thing that has always separated that their teammates have always talked about when it comes to them? They worked harder, they trained harder, and their mindset was to be number one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the struggle, and I think that's the sort of current struggle with the current crop of drivers. They've not. A lot of them have some, quite sort of socially strong economic backgrounds, and they don't have those same level of struggles. And I think that unless you have the like of a Jos Verstappen, who was in the sport, got his ass kicked by Michael in a title winning car for 2 years, or 1 year, sorry. Excuse me. Got his ass kicked by Michael.
By Mika Salo.
Jos knows, but Jos knows what it takes to become great. Though, like Fernando, Seb, Lewis, they've come from struggling backgrounds. And Lewis is very well documented. Father worked two jobs. They scraped and saved. There was never the best gear and things like that. But I think you're absolutely right. Your mindset and the way your upbringing has a massive impact on wanting to be great. So I think, so going back to the sort of the Red Bull driver academy and who faces Max. You're right. Apart from Danny Rick, there's none of them.
Yeah, and we saw. Well, we did see Max struggle when Danny Rick was doing well. So, we never know. But we've slightly gone off topic here. But we'll head back to Montreal, Canada. It's that time of the show. Hope you're ready for this, Wajid. It's time for our terrible predictions. So, I think we can call them terrible predictions, can't we? They are terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, they're bad. They're bad.
Yeah, we're not good. So, for those who haven't seen before, for first off, where have you been? And secondly, we pick top 3 in qualifying, top 3 in race, and 3 random predictions. So that's top 3 in qualifying, top 3 in race, and 3 random predictions. So, Wajid first or myself? Your decision.
Do you know what? You go first. I think I went first last week, so you go first.
Okay, so qualifying. I am going to pick, for qualifying, pole position is going to go to... I'm going to stick my neck out. Pole position will be Charles Leclerc. Second place will be Max Verstappen. And third place will be George Russell. You okay?
Yeah, I didn't expect that, but okay. Yeah, I'm going Max Lewis Checo.
Max Lewis Checo.
Okay.
Well, Checo does go well around Canada. We've seen it before, so we never know. Moving on to the moving on to race now. I will go for... Who should I go for a race? I'm going to go for... Have you got yours?
Yeah.
Go on, we'll trade it over. You go first.
Max Lewis Checo.
Boring.
I am backing the Merc upgrade. I'm sticking.
You think you're backing the Merc upgrade?
Yeah, I'm sticking my neck out by saying Lewis is going to beat Checo.
Yeah.
And that. Yeah.
Well, my race result. Here we go. My race result will be Lewis Hamilton to win the Canadian Grand Prix and take an record 8th victory in Canada. Second will be Max. I think we'll see a Lewis Max slinging it out. Actually, yeah, Max will finish second this time. It's the next race. It's Britain. He'll chuck it off. And third, we will have Fernando Alonso. I know you're going. Where's Fernando just going to? And where's George gone and Leclerc?
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you're really backing on Merc. You're really backing on Merc.
That's what I said. You think you're backing on the upgrade? I really need to stop saying. There we go. My first of 3 random predictions I am going to have is my first one of the 3 randoms. There will be a Alpine in the top 6 of qualifying.
We'll go back to back on the random predictions. So you go one, I go one.
Yeah.
So mine is Fernando. No, because I've got finishing third. Mine is.
Have you? I thought you went Sergio.
Oh, so I did go
I've got
second, yeah,
Alonso
sorry.
third.
It's you that got F. So I will go with what I wanted to say. Fernando Binz in the Wall of Champions.
Okay. Sadly, Sebastian's not here, so I can't go for free seagulls to be on turn one as he heads down there. We will go for Yuki Tsunoda to finish 10th because he loves finishing around that area. So we'll go for Yuki Tsunoda to finish 10th.
The Alphas to get 2-point scorers.
Nice. And I am going to say that we are going to get 14. Yeah, only 14 cars finish a race. 14 or less.
We've gone back to back.
Yeah.
After we've gone back to back of like pretty much no yellows, no safety cars, all 20 finishing.
14 or less will finish the Canadian Grand Prix.
Williams to make it into Q3.
Yeah, can see that. So there we go. So that's our predictions for the Canadian Grand Prix. Just to go through random ones again, I've got an Alpine in the top 6 of qualifying, Yuki Tsunoda to finish 10th, and 14 or less finishers. That's 14 or less finishers. And Wajid has got, if he can remember.
I love how you made that abundantly clear. That includes 14. I'm
14,
not saying
yes.
less than, it's 14. Yeah, I've gone Fernando to Bennett in the Wall of Champions. I've gone for 2 Alpha point scorers. And I have gone for Williams in Q3.
Yeah, so some interesting predictions. We're going a bit wild now because, well, we may as well because we got it wrong when we predicted the expected as well. So, Wajid, thank you for joining us for this podcast, all the way from Brazil. Not doxing you. It's a big country. It's fine.
I'm in Rio.
Oh, well, he can dox himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll be back, I guess, for the review, and we'll be doing it from the sunny climes of. No, still from Brazil for a review.
Still from Brazil for the review. I'm here. I'm here for 2 weeks. I'm here for 2 weeks.
Oh, so we get exotic. I want like Brazilian carnival behind you next time.
Yeah, that's in February. That's in February.
Oh, okay.
So a couple of months late for that.
We'll have to wait for testing then. But yeah, well, that's the way it is. Wajid, thank you for joining us. We will. That's it. Wajid, thank you for joining us. We will. Yeah, lost myself.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Wajid, thank you for joining us from Rio. We can hear the horns going. People wanting to join in with the podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel below and like the video. Really, Le Mans one took off, like I said before, so hopefully we're going to be looking at the same for the rest of our videos. But if you enjoy the content, come back again for our review. Come back again for our review of the Canadian Grand Prix, which will be in probably Monday again, so just over under a week's time. And let's hope we have a really good Canadian Grand Prix on Sunday night. Goodbye. Sunday night. It's not Sunday night, is it? It is for us.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
It's not for everybody else.
Do you want to record again? I think it's okay, Ziggs.
I'll just throw something together quickly. And hopefully we will have a really good Canadian Grand Prix on Sunday night in the UK time. Wherever you are, obviously please check your clocks because I cannot predict where everybody is. Wajid, Brazil time?
It's Sunday afternoon.
Testing him here. Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, because the race
Oh,
is
you're
at
on pretty much the
7
same
on.
line, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm 1 hour ahead.
Yeah, just
So
worked.
it's
I just thought about that. You're actually around the same line. So yeah, you're actually in the right place for the Canadian Grand Prix and won't get interrupted by Coronation Street. Anyway, that's a blast from the past when Coronation Street used to always come up on ITV. But we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Peace.
Okay, I can now move my arm because
That's amazing.
look at this.